Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life, and dare I say it, but I would like to bring back the Sunday prep days. So I really enjoy, and for years I really enjoyed, especially in the fall and the winter months, like when we're watching a Packer game on Sundays, to just kind of be puttering around in the kitchen. Well, I'm more than puttering around, but prepping things, getting some meat cooked, getting the onions chopped, getting some of the fruit prep that we're going to eat during the week, maybe making a loaf of bread, things like that. The family's watching the Packer game, and I like to do that kind of thing. Well, it's been a long time since I've done that. I used to do regular videos. I'll put that, I think I have a playlist of Sunday meal prep days on YouTube here, so I will, if I have that and can find that, I'll link to that. Although it says that it's 79 degrees out, it's just been very, very sticky. We had a lot of rain, 1.5 inches, I think, or 1.25 inches, 1.75 inches. Maria, do you remember what Dad said?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, well, we got a lot of rain over the last, like 36 hours or something like that, and we got a little rain this morning. Oh, they're in.
I just forgot the card reader.
Oh, I see. Listen to you getting all techie.
I know, right?
3 years ago, he bought some trail cams, and just yesterday, Peter's like, Dad, do you think that we could get those set up? And so, anyway, and he bought a card reader. That's going to actually be exciting, I think.
I know. And now I have to label these to make sure I put the right card in the right camera.
in the right spot. All right, so anyway, Sunday prep day. It's time to get back into doing that again. I love it when I do it, because then I have things ready for the week, food ready to go, and even just pieces and parts of meals ready to go, even if it isn't like the whole entire casserole or something. It's just nice to have some of that chopping done. Let me show you my list. So my list is nacho meat. I should tell you, tomorrow and Tuesday we have back-to-back birthdays, Joe and Maria, and so Joe requested to have nachos for supper tomorrow, so I'm going to make a bunch of nacho meat. There's going to be more than just us here, so I wanted to make a lot of that. I'm going to do 4 pounds of ground venison made into nacho meat. I'm going to make up his white cupcakes that he wants. I did write frosting, decided that I'm going to do that on Monday. I need to slice the black olives for his nachos. Maria the next day wants to have sausage gravy on biscuits, and so I'm going to get the sausage gravy made up today. I also want to make her ice cream cake today, get a loaf of bread into the bread machine and make this braided loaf. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is a recipe that is in the, oh, who's that couple that has the home show, Magnolia Table? Joanna Gaines. So it's from one of her cookbooks. I think it's from volume 2. Actually, both of these recipes are from volume 2. And bacon cheddar cups, which seemed very much like something that I have made. I make these like little, just like little mini egg bakes, I guess is kind of what I call them. And then I also have a cantaloupe, and I want to get that cut up. I did pick cucumbers yesterday, and so I may also try to get some pickles done today. I picked tomatoes, but those still need to ripen up a little bit more before I decide to can with them. I've been having to pick my tomatoes a little bit underripe, so they're not completely vine ripened, because we have chipmunks, is what I'm guessing it's chipmunks. They're getting into the garden, and as soon as the tomato's half red, they just start chewing it. And they don't eat the whole tomato and get full. They take a bite out of this tomato and a bite out of that tomato and a bite out of that tomato. It's kind of a problem for me. I had to pick some tomatoes a little underripe yesterday, and I'm just going to let them ripen up, and then I will kind of tend to those. But that's my list for today. I better stop talking and get working. So it only makes sense to get the bread machine working for me first. This isn't a bread machine recipe, but I basically turn any bread recipe into a bread machine recipe, as long as it takes 4 cups or less of flour. And this one takes 3.5 cups. So all right, I need to put in some warm water, yeast, sugar, It does say all-purpose flour, but I'm going to use bread flour just because that's what I like to do. Salt, oil, and eggs. So pretty basic. Sounds like a pretty basic dough. It is from Magnolia Table, Volume 2, and that is what it's going to look like, maybe, when I'm done. All right, this bread machine is a little bit loud, but the next thing I'm going to get going on are making Joe's white cupcakes. I'm going to put an Oreo in the bottom. That's what he's been requesting for, I think, the last couple of years now, and those have to go in the oven. So again, I'm going to get my oven working for me. Just leave them there, honey.
Okay, sir. That is Oreos or in?
Good. Just leave it there. Just a note on this bread. I had to add about almost, well, it probably wasn't quite a quarter cup, but I would say I had to add definitely like 3 extra tablespoons of water just to get it looking, like soft and pliable. Otherwise it would just look like a very, very shaggy, and a lot of the dough wasn't even mixed, a lot of the flour wasn't even mixing in. So sorry for the loud clunk, that is a loud machine. But if you're going to make this recipe, which I will link her cookbooks in the description box, maybe her recipes are someplace online. I guess I could look for that too. Not really sure if I can just share it, word for word, out of her cookbook. I didn't read. Some cookbooks will say on the inside, like, please don't share my recipes. Yeah, she has a thing here. They may not be used or reproduced without written permission. So anyway, I'll link her cookbook, or see if the braided bread recipe is on her website someplace. Since I'm using such dark pans, I have my oven set to 325 instead of the regular 350. I don't want those Oreos on the bottom to get burnt or anything, or to get too dark. So 325, and these are probably going to be in for definitely, I'm going to say 18 minutes. I have my 4 pounds of ground venison going in my Dutch oven, and now I'm going to chop up this big onion here, get this sauteing down with the hamburger. This is going to be for Joe's nachos for his birthday supper. Yeah, this next one, there's one at like 3 in the afternoon, and then one, I'm pretty sure it was either 6 in the afternoon or 6 in the morning. Well, the bear hunters came in. They're not really hunters now, you know, it's not season, but they came in and...
We have bears on the camera.
Yeah, bears on the camera. So that was exciting.
Yeah.
At least 2 different bear.
Super exciting.
Bigger one and a smaller one. But they're coming in at completely different times. So they're not together. But
Not together, huh?
they have come in the daylight though.
That's good. That's good. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Peter's got a tag this year.
And
So do
Dad.
I.
Oh, I actually did not know that.
Oh, really?
I thought it was just Peter.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot 2.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a lot of bear. All right, the cupcakes came out of the oven. I have them on the dining room table cooling. The meat is done here. I'm gonna start adding all of the ingredients to this in just a second. One nice little feature of these aprons, I know a number of you have purchased these aprons. This little bow here is not stitched all the way through, just on the ends. So I often will just like put a paper towel here, or I will put just a towel, and then I have something quick for wiping my hands. Works really great. I actually learned that back in high school when I worked at an ice cream shop. We would always wear shorts with belt loops so that we could tuck our towel for wiping our ice cream hands on, and it was just much quicker and easier.
Can we take a picture of the bears?
Yeah,
Where's it from?
probably in my purse. I'm adding in some refried beans. I'm going to open up one of my new jars of salsa just from this year. I usually like to give this at least a couple of weeks. I mean, honestly, longer if I can hold people off, but I don't have any other salsa right now. All right, so a whole jar of salsa in here. Now with this recipe that I'm making, you can do a pound of meat with a can of refried beans with a jar of salsa and the other ingredients. You can do more meat. And I know it seems funny to think that use as much meat as you want, really up to like 4 pounds, without doubling and tripling all of the other ingredients, but it's always worked. And nachos are very forgiving. Just kind of taste it and see, is that the flavor we're going for? Or add more of something if you want. All right, I do need to add in chili powder. For 1 pound of meat, it would be 2 tablespoons of chili powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. I am going to add extra of the chili powder here. So 2, 4, we'll start with that. We'll go a teaspoon of salt. And because I like pepper, we're also going to do pepper. This is also very good at this point to put some shredded cheese in it and let that cheese melt as you stir it around. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. I don't have a ton of shredded cheese right now, and so I'd rather save it for tomorrow when people want to put it on top of their dish. Take a little bite. Needs a little more salt.
Can I test it? What is it?
Nachos.
I think it's fine.
You think it's fine? No more salt?
I wouldn't.
Does it need a little more chili powder? No?
No. I can taste it really well. I think that's perfect.
All right, well, Peter said it tasted perfect, so we're not going to add any more salt today. If somebody needs to, they can add it tomorrow. All right, this is done, and it's going to go in the fridge. Next thing on the docket is sausage gravy. Just let me get the meat going, and then I will get those on here.
I was debating over this one and another one, but I think this one.
Yeah.
Well, it might not be both.
The timer for the bread machine also went off. So I'm going to pull this. Ooh! It's a little bit stronger than my old bread machine. Remember the old bread machine that was always falling apart? I have to say, I really, really did like that one though. I immediately threw it in the garbage because I was like, I know that I could have the tendency to keep that one and keep this one, and then I would just always go and use the other one. But this one works. It's just a little bit different, and I have to adjust and move on. This is a braided loaf. So let me just read what it says. What does it say? Divide the dough into 3 equal portions and roll each into a ball and then into a 15-inch long rope. All right, I sprayed this pan according to the directions here. Now I need to divide out my dough. I'm gonna put a little oil. Uh-oh, my battery's gonna die, you guys. A little bit of oil. Kind of wiggle it around so the oil spreads out. That was olive oil I used. I actually used my scale and I weighed out each bit of dough. So each of these are just about 10 ounces of dough. And now I am just letting it naturally stretch, also rolling it some. Add a little more oil to my counter. So this is actually 6 inches, 12, we're only at about 13 inches right now. So we need to get this a little bit longer here. This is a nice dough scraper because it does measure. Okay, we're at about 14. And dough does like to kind of shrink back as you're trying to stretch it. All right, that is a 15-inch piece of dough. So, and as soon as I put it on the cookie sheet, it started to shrink back. I oftentimes find myself working too quickly with bread dough. The slower that you go, the better results actually you'll have, because there'll be less of it wanting to shrink back. Because you kind of have to give it time to want to be in that new position. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. So we go left over the right. And then the right over that one. And just kind of stretching it up into here. Well, that's probably the prettiest braid of dough that I've ever made. A little bit lumpy on this end. I could probably smooth it out if I really tried here. But isn't that pretty? I'm going to go read the directions. Pretty sure I have to let this rise and then I put the wash on top. The bacon and cheddar egg cups need bacon. And I need to get this cooked up crisp. And for this recipe, it recommends doing it in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes because you want crispy bacon. I will watch it carefully. I have a dark pan here. Also, this is pretty thin bacon, so I'm going to watch it pretty carefully, but yeah, it says 20 to 30 minutes. I'm checking for my sausage gravy recipe. It is in the main dish. Yes, okay, so cookbook number 1. I have both volume 1 and volume 2 available, and you can see the description box for that. Actually, as soon as this video gets posted to YouTube, I'm going to put my cookbooks on a sale, so I'm going to do free shipping. So let's say this video goes up on a Thursday, there will be free shipping offered on my cookbooks, 1 or 2 or both, until the following Thursday. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Both volume 1 and volume 2 are available. If I remember, I always say, feel free to screenshot the recipe if you'd like. Is that clear enough there? Whoa. I'm doubling the recipe. Oh, actually I'm not. I already have it doubled in the cookbook. So 2 pounds of seasoned pork sausage. When I first started browning this, I added a little bit of oil. Sometimes I add butter. Like if I don't add a little oil, I'll just add some butter at this point. That gives it really good flavor, and it provides enough fat for making the gravy. Actually, there's not much in there, so I am going to put in just a little bit of butter. And then I'll put in 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour and stir around until all the flour is absorbed. I still have my Dutch oven here on low. 1 to 2 teaspoons of seasoned salt. I'm going to go light because the pork sausage, it really depends on your brand of pork sausage. Some are saltier than others. That looks like about a teaspoon. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. You want it to look peppery when you make the gravy. You want to be like, ooh, there's some definite pepper in there. We're going to go 6 cups of milk. I'm going to do it in 3 cups. Stir, 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 and then another 3 cups. And since it's Sunday and we're not going to eat this until Tuesday, it's going to thicken up. And depending when I warm it on Tuesday, I may add more milk or I may add water. Kind of depends on how thick it is. I'm scraping the bottom too to make sure that I get any of those yummy bits off the bottom. Oh, yum. Okay. Oh, my oven's still not preheated. I'm waiting for the oven to preheat to 400. I wish I would have told you what time it was, or actually paid attention to what time it was when I started all this. It's 4 o'clock right now. I've been working pretty diligently. I did take a little time to go look at their, the trail cam pictures and everything. Even though they have the card reader, they brought them in. They wanted to see the pictures bigger. So I did take a little bit to do that. I did send a couple of texts to people. I wrote a couple things on the calendar. So I've done a few other things in the in-between. All right, I'm going to turn this up just a bit so that it kind of comes to a boil. And I can already tell just with how thick it is that 3 more cups of milk is going to be just fine. Oven is preheated. Let's get this bacon in. Like it said, 20 minutes. Also, we're going to put in just a pinch of basil and a splash of Worcestershire. Make sure you shake it up. Get all the goodness off of the bottom. That's how you get your Worcestershire sauce to taste nice and strong and delicious. A dash? How many dashes? It says 1 good dash. Okay, there's another one then. That's flavorful. Yesterday, when I had the idea that I was going to do Sunday prep and I really wanted to get a lot of things ready for the week, I pulled out a package of mini roasts, venison mini roasts. There's 6 of them in here, and I have just enough bacon left in that pack over there and these are thawed because I put everything in the fridge last night. I also pulled out a whole venison backstrap, 1.5 pound backstrap, and so we'll do that a different day. But I think for supper tonight, I was going to, here's another thing that I pulled out, is some of this, this is some of that Italian venison that I made that I had sliced. I like to do it with some sauteed onions. Joe, are you singing in the background? Some sauteed onions, provolone cheese. I don't have provolone, but I have pepper jack, I'm pretty sure. And then on like a toasted hoagie bun, a little bit of mayo. You could do it like a Subway sandwich where you had some lettuce and tomato as well and pickles. And you could do whatever. But anyway, I was thinking of doing that, but I think I'll save this for lunch tomorrow. There's only going to be 4 of us here for lunch tomorrow, and 5 of us here, unless Sam is going to be, I'm not sure what time he's coming home today. So I'm going to do the blah, 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 right? I'm going to do the mini roasts. And with the mini roasts, the point being is that I like to wrap them in bacon. So I'm going to season them up. I like to season it up with some steak seasoning. This one is the McCormick Grill Mates. I really use whatever they happen to have at the store at that time. So a good amount of seasoning. Venison can take a lot of seasoning, you guys. And we're just going to go for it. Start wrapping these roasts up and toothpicking them to hold them together. And I had 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have exactly 6 pieces of bacon here. I cannot tell you how just thrilled I am right now. I am feeling so productive and so on top of my game. I just love it when I do these Sunday meal preps. And I said before, it doesn't have to be like I'm making a bunch of individual meals and everything is stacked in the fridge, you know, ready to go, that kind of thing. Just microwave and go. It's not that. It's just little things, like just even having the black olives ready to go for tomorrow. That's one more step. When we get home from the water park, that's one less step that I have to do when I'm warming up the meat and setting the table and we're, you know, putting out the cute birthday plates and things like that. It's just one less thing to have to do, and it just feels so good. The gravy is bubbling away over there. I like to give it a couple of minutes, you know, because you want to cook that gluey taste out of the flour. So give it a couple of minutes to bubble away. Bubble away. I'm going to say bubble because, I mean, it is boiling, but you don't want it to be like boiling, splattering everywhere. I think what I'll do is just do some baked potatoes tonight in the Instant Pot. That'll be perfect. Are you guys hearing Joe? He's just a singing and a singing. He's serenading me the whole time. All right, this is sticking a bit. I'm going to get it turned off and let this cool. Let me show you what it looks like here. And we will serve this over biscuits. Obviously, you can make homemade biscuits. I did not, or I'm not planning on homemade biscuits. I'm just planning on, I have the Pillsbury, actually they're the Great Value, you know, biscuits in a can, the kind that pop. I have made some delicious sourdough, I think they were sourdough discard biscuits. I have to think if it was from Sugar Spun Run from her website or where that was, but they were delicious. I just know that I'm not going to get to that on Tuesday. So, canned biscuits it is. I'm just stirring this because as it kind of, and once you turn the heat off, something that has kind of stuck a little bit, it will start to loosen up once you, once you turn off the heat. That's good. I'm just going to let that cool. I have such a mess here today. Are you guys ready? Here's my mess. Actually, through the camera, it doesn't look that bad. It really doesn't. I guess it's more like when you're up close, you're kind of like, oh, we got that and we got that. We got cookbooks open and notebooks open and pens and garbage for the, or scraps for the chickens, and we got some tomatoes back there. Just, you know, there's just a lot going on. I have my bread over here. That's rising, looking really, really, really pretty. It's sitting on top of all my canned goods. And I just have stuff here too. So I think I'm going to regroup here for a moment now. I have 7 minutes left on the bacon, right? Because if that was at, what was that at before? 26, right? And I needed to check it at 20 minutes. So yeah, I have 7 minutes left. Regroup, get things cleaned up, and go from there. I am super in a bread baking mood right now. Another recipe that I had earmarked out of the volume 2 of the Magnolia Table cookbook. It is blueberry sweet rolls with a lemon glaze. And since this is out and this is, you know, I already did one dough in there, I am going to get the ingredients for the blueberry sweet rolls because I thought this could make a nice breakfast tomorrow. The blueberry sweet rolls with those, with the egg cups, the egg and bacon cups that I'm going to make. So I need milk and yeast, sugar, unsalted butter. I don't have that. I'm just going to use salted butter, an egg, all-purpose flour. But again, I'm going to use my bread flour and then some salt. I'm going to get all those ingredients into the bread machine and hit dough. 375. So we need to turn this down to 375, start. And I need to make the little, like, the topping glaze. It's always important in about 5 minutes to check the bread machine. You want to just make sure that it's moist enough, especially when it's a brand new recipe that you've never used before. So the topping, or the glaze, is an egg and a teaspoon of cream. It says that this should look pillowy, and I would say that that is very pillowy. I'm going to be careful with it. You don't want to bang your bread around once it has risen. It can fall. Ask me how I know. Brush this mixture over the bread gently but thoroughly. This is what gives different loaves of bread that really pretty shine on top. At this point, I'm going to get together the ingredients for the bacon cheddar cups. I used that last little bit of egg and cream. Now I'm going to put in 6 eggs and 1 cup of cottage cheese. I've never done this, like a scrambled egg with cottage cheese. I've heard about it being done. Actually, I think Emily was just mentioning that this is how she's been doing it and that the kids really love it. I've never ever done it. And when I ran across this recipe, I was like, hey, let's give it a try. I've made egg cups before. I've made sausage and egg cups. It's a recipe out of the Pioneer Woman cookbook. I've also made a bacon, broccoli, and cheddar egg cup. I can't remember where that recipe came from, but that one was really, really good too. I don't even know if I need to do that. Yeah, it pretty much breaks apart. I think as soon as I start stirring, it's just going to break right apart, which actually is probably just what they wanted. My towel's still coming in strong here. It says 4 ounces or about a cup of shredded cheese. I'm going to give that a measure. There we go. And some other ingredients. I need some garlic powder, onion powder, and white pepper. Give that all a stir. This is supposed to make 12. All right, bread machine is just grinding away over there. But I got Maria now, and she's gonna help put together her birthday cake. So we're gonna do the ice cream cake. We just call it Emily's birthday ice cream cake because this is what she always wanted growing up. I mean, you guys, it's just so easy. It's just a bunch of store-bought ingredients that you just layer up and then freeze it back. So ice cream sandwiches, whipped topping, and then Hershey's syrup, some caramel syrup,
And then whatever candy
and
bar
then
you
really
want
whatever
to
candy.
sprinkle on top.
Exactly, whatever
And I
one.
chose Butterfinger.
Most of the kids have always chosen Butterfinger, but you could do whatever candy bar or no candy bar. I do think I saw a recipe like this, if you call this a recipe, where they
Put,
took
like,
like
nuts on
peanuts. I
top,
was going to
too.
say they did
Sorry.
salted peanuts on top.
With this
So,
thing.
all right, we're gonna.
What's first?
First is unwrap ice cream sandwiches. The braided loaf has come out of the oven. It is like triple the size of when I first braided it. I think it looks lovely, absolutely lovely. It does recommend letting this cool for 10 minutes on the pan, then taking it off, letting it cool for 40 minutes on a wire rack, which that's what I have it on cooling right now. And I'm pretty sure we'll just let it cool until we're ready for supper. I was just scrubbing up some potatoes here. I'm gonna do these in the Instant Pot, 17 minutes, high pressure. I turned the oven temp down to 350, and now these egg cups have to go in for about 15 minutes.
Handprints.
Yeah, they start to get soft. You can do as much or as little as you want on
That's
it too.
good.
Okay. It's time to crunch up the candy bars.
We normally cut them because they're kind of hard, you know?
That's true.
Should I get a cutting board?
Yes.
That was a weird way to grab it.
It works.
I don't know why I did that.
So this is so tall, I'm not able to put the cover on. What we'll do is just pop it in the freezer like this and set it nice and level. Let it freeze. The little bacon cheddar muffins came out of the oven. It did say 15 minutes. I had these in for 17. The recipe also said that the centers, you should take them out when the centers are still creamy. I don't like my eggs creamy like that, so I left them in for another 2 minutes. It didn't seem to affect the bottoms at all. They didn't, they didn't brown. The bacon still looks good on top and everything, so that was just right for me. We still cannot get over how this looks. This almost looks fake. It is so enormous and so shiny. Maria's like, from far away, it looks like it's just a plastic loaf of bread. Like, I know, it's just crazy. I hope it tastes good. Now, this is another bread recipe. Remember, this is for the blueberry cinnamon rolls. Look, I added extra flour in it. I mean, it's done, and it is very, like, sticky. I feel like this is too sticky. I think I'm going to have to add some more flour, and maybe, I'm just kind of thinking here through this. I think I'm going to turn it out, add some more flour, and then let it rest for a little bit, and then shape it. I'm going to read the directions and see what the directions call for. Maybe it is supposed to be super, super wet like this, but it just seems a little too wet for my liking, even for a cinnamon roll dough. And that is the thing with recipes, is that, I mean, everybody measures a little bit differently. Everybody gets accustomed to their bread dough or cookies or meat or whatever it is. They get accustomed to it being different. Some people like their meat very rare. Some like it very, very done. Some people like cookies to be more brown and crunchy. Some people like it to be just barely cooked, so it's still really, really soft and chewy. Bread, some people like their bread dough to be more wet, and maybe when it rises, it doesn't quite rise as high. Others like their bread dough to be a little bit drier. So you kind of just have to get in the kitchen, and just because you make something the first time and it's not what you had envisioned in your mind, doesn't mean that you failed at it. It just means that you need to adjust that recipe a little bit, because how you like it is different than the recipe creator likes it. And that's completely okay, right? Because we're all different. So get in the kitchen, try some things, and then just adjust as necessary. So I will make a note actually on both of these bread recipes, since I own the cookbook. I'll make a note in there. In that recipe, I needed to add more water, because it wasn't even coming together. There just was not enough liquid. And then in this recipe, I need to add more flour because it's just too wet. All right, Warren is out. Yep, he's out making the bacon wrapped mini roasts. The potatoes are done. The dishes are still just piling up. And I'm gonna let the steam out on that. And what else are we gonna do here? We need to get the table cleared off. Warren was placing an order for some harvest equipment that he needed, some things that broke last year. I have thank yous piling up over here. I need to go and get postage tomorrow. So anyway, just need to clear the table too. It is time to slice this bread. Peter just walked by and he said it looks fake too. Everybody thinks it looks fake, because that's what I do. I serve up fake food. Okay, it has a nice feel when you cut through it. Oh, nice crumb. You know, try a bite. There's no butter or anything on it, but what do you think, Peter? How does it taste?
Not gonna lie, not your best bread.
It's not my best bread
You need 3 AA?
because it's just kind of blah. Let's try this
Well,
here.
that was kind of weird taste.
Oh, I wonder if it's the sesame seeds. Why does it taste like... All right, seriously, does this taste like licorice, like black licorice? Why would it taste like that?
Tastes like cheese.
Hmm.
I don't really like the crust.
You don't like the crust? That was made with an egg and heavy cream. You
Looks
mix it
pretty,
together.
but-
It looks very pretty.
Maybe with like butter or something, maybe it'll be better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with butter should be better. Oh, Warren's giving it a try too. What do you think? I caught you with your mouth full.
Kind of 6, 7.
I'm having.
Venison mini roasts, Joe.
The sesame seed gives it that.
Is that what that little bit of a flavor is the sesame seeds?
It's kind of.
Okay, well, I found out that I guess I'm not a huge fan of sesame seeds. All right, well, it sure looks pretty, and I think once we put a little butter on it and we eat it with the rest of our supper, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to eat the bread. It's not going to go to waste, that's for sure. But like Peter said, it's not one of my best. Although, it just has the same old regular bread ingredients. And then this is how supper turned out. So we have the mini roasts. Yeah, Warren did those on the Blackstone. They look really, really good. The Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap movie is on, and so Maria really wanted to watch that. But I didn't want the night to slip away here without me getting the rest of the things done. So I took a moment and cut up the cantaloupe, which then pretty much everybody ate just as I was cutting it up. They were all, it was so nice and juicy and delicious. So then it was time to get going on the cinnamon rolls. I added a little more flour to the dough as I was mixing it, and it actually turned out just perfectly. It was still pillowy soft, like you would want a sweet roll dough to be. I got those into the oven, and since I packed them into this little bit smaller than 9x13 pan, it did take quite a while longer. The recipe said 16 to 18 minutes. I had mine in for almost 30 minutes before I thought that they were completely done all the way through. I made the lemon frosting glaze, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go over with everyone. The kids actually went to bed, and I was finally getting these out of the oven and glazed, and Warren and I just didn't want to wait. And so we each had one, and then he went back for a second one and said it was absolutely delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do hope to bring more of these to you because I love the results of the Sunday prep, and I also love being able to just encourage you guys to make some small moves over the weekend, or I mean honestly it doesn't matter what day of the week, but just to make some small moves to prep some things ahead when you know that you'll be having some full days coming. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, cookbooks are on sale right now, which means that I'm offering free shipping. That is free shipping to US addresses only. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.